Hello everyone, this is Dr. Anam Zahir, and as scheduled, I'm here to present a webinar from Herbal Homeo on the topic lifestyle disorders along with the therapeutic interventions of thyroid diseases. I hereby welcome you all, and I'm so glad to see here Dr. Aarti, Homeopathy 13 admin. Dear Aarti, you've been always my constant, and whatever shape homeopathy heals is taking is just because of you. I'm so glad that you are so eager to learn, curious to spread homeopathy, and homeopathy needs more such homeopaths to flourish. Am I clear and audible to everyone? I think, is it video not lagging? Everything is okay? Okay, so we'll start today's session. Definitely those will be joining after, they'll be able to see the video because it's a Facebook live. Okay, so why we have chosen this topic? Because today when we start our practice, I hope every one of us know the difference between the disorders and the diseases. Diseases, basically the uneasiness, dis-ease, the discomfort, in the easiness, and disorders is when something is not in order. So when we talk about the disorders, what disorder means is something in your routine, in your diet, in your regime is not okay, which is making you fall sick. Okay, so I hereby welcome all of you. So there are so many lifestyle disorders like depression, diabetes, lipid disturbance, hyperlipidemia, gallbladder disorders, stroke, hypertension. Okay, so I don't think that it's a need to tell about the definition of lifestyle disorder, but sometimes they are the diseases of longevity. Okay, earlier when we go 50 or 60 years back, okay, how there is the history of medicine originated. When we study history of medicine, so people used to die of cholera. Imagine, the mankind was dying of plague, cholera, such soric diseases. Okay, now what comes? The psychotic era, people dying of myocardial infarction, the stroke, tumors. Okay, so what is lifestyle disorder? They are the simply disorders of longevity. The more you will live, the more you will face all these disorders. Okay, the civilization, the changeability in the routine. So these diseases are linked with the people and their life they are living, like with the alcohol, the drug addiction, the smoking abuse, the mental abuse, the less physical activity, the unhealthy eating, and so on. So lifestyle diseases, they are defined as disease linked with the way people are living. They are known as lifestyle disorders because the reason behind the disease is the people itself. Okay, and they are very much limited. They are not like epidemic or pandemic, or they are contagious. They are not at all contagious, and they are present in limited people in limited population. Okay, now what are the causes of lifestyle disorder? What makes us land up into such situation? There are variable types of causes. I'll cover a few of them. Number one is distal causes. Distal causes means they develop very gradually, not suddenly, like the industrialization, the current lifestyle we have, not early to the bed and waking up late by 10, long working hours, and always running behind the growth. Then comes the medial causes, which include all the stress, psychological disorders, depression. Okay, there is no free time in the work, a social pressure. Yes, a social pressure. My colleague is doing so well, and the competition, even the comparison between the kids, the school going kids. Now comes the proximal causes, which includes diet, tobacco abuse, unprotected intercourse, obesity, sun exposure, excessive alcohol intake, pollution, and less hours of sleep. Now, what are the risk factors? Which risk factors lead to such disorders? Number one is hypertension. Number two is dyslipidemia, when the lipid profile, when there is high cholesterol, especially the low density or very low density lipids, glucose intolerance, anemia, or there is increased in uric acid level, and the other causes like this. Such people are at risk to lifestyle disorders. What consequences they cause? They causes diabetes, metabolic disorders, cardiovascular disorders, mood or anxiety disorders, or even the pain. These days I'm coming across so many patients, those who complain of so unusual pains, okay, which has no relation with any or either of the disease. Sometimes in a one visit they are paining of somewhere in the shoulder, and the next follow-up shoulder pain is okay, and they are paining in the back of the neck. In the next follow-up they are paining for the backache. So always rule out that whether they are stress pain. Ask for the lifestyle. Ask for the life space investigation. I always give time to the patient and ask what work you do, what occupation you have, what is your schedule when you wake up, when you sleep, what you'll do in the whole 24 hours, what all family members you have, what is the interpersonal relationship with the family members you have, so that we can able to find out whether the patient is expressing himself or not, whether his emotion are suppressed or he is repressing the emotions or himself. Okay, next is how these so many disorders, they become a risk factor. Okay, but are they always modifiable or they are non-modifiable? So the risk factors for lifestyle disorder can be modifiable and can be non-modifiable. In non-modifiable factors, they are, we can't do anything in that. They are like maternal obesity, anything happening in the intrauterine life, gestational period, gestational diabetes. Okay, the intrauterine environment, what was mother going through during the pregnancy, which is affecting the baby, the epigenetics, the environmental interactions, you can't do anything to that, they are very unmodifiable. But in modifiable, we have the low socio-economic status, whether person is belonging to urban area and rural area. Make sure from which background patient is coming. It is very important, because you need to know the problems, the stress patient is facing. Okay, you have a complaint of sleepiness, excessive sleepiness in one strata of the family or in the society, and you'll get to know the insomnia, the sleeplessness in the other strata of the society. Okay, the lifestyle changes, less physical activity, very less exercise, and students, they are so much engaged these days, so a lot into uh, online classes. Always kids are available on their tabs, their laptops, very much focused with their eyes. Screen time has increased a lot. The child obesity, eating chips, junk food, the BMI get altered. Okay, the deposition of fat, the adiposities, and if there is influence of parents over kids, if parents, they are abusive, they are alcoholic, or if they have a smoking tendency. So the diet, how diet affects the lifestyle disorder, whether kid has been breastfed or not, if mother is working, so if mother has left the kid to the daycare, whether in the initial months of the age, how patient is taking the breakfast, the consumption, what kind of canned or processed food kid is taking, any deficiency, any vitamin deficiency, what kind of sleep your patient is taking, whether there is any obstructive sleep apnea, insomnia, narcolepsy, the duration, his patient is waking up in the middle of the night, is he able to sleep back again? So all these, the routine, the regime of the patient, you are likely to know it. Okay, so these are, now we are coming across this lifestyle disorder. But when you read aphorism number 85 to 105 about the case taking, so you'll see that Master Hanuman has already wrote about this, that ask about each and every detail of the patient, to individualize the patient, make patient different from the other family members and other patient too. Now, next is how time has changed. You know, earlier we used to do our household chores uh, by our own. Okay, everything, cleaning, washing, the females 20 years back, everything. But now we have so many home appliances. Even we have uh, all type of mixer grinders, the toasters, ovens, microwave. Even now, roti maker and atta kneader are also available. Earlier, people used to do the field work, they can walk for like miles and kilometers, but now the job, the nature of job has changed to desk jobs. Kids used to play outside. I don't know how many of us has played hide and seek and hit and run and these kind of physical games, but now kids these days are so much involved into uh, tabs, the mobile phones, the video games, playstations. Earlier, people used to eat raw food, healthy food, but we are today towards the processed, the canned foods, the hallmark, trademark, processed foods, burgers and pizzas. Now, talking about the epidemiology of the lifestyle in India, 10.3% people have pre-diabetes. I mean, you can count how many we are, how many billions we are, and 10.3% of population is suffering from pre-diabetic situation, and they are battling the risk of all the diabetes mellitus, and 7.3% of our population is already diabetic. Okay, so next come, what are the types of diseases which are under lifestyle disorder? As we have discussed about the very main and basic, like diabetes and hypertension, but there are other disorders as well which are classified into lifestyle disorders. They are Alzheimer disease. As I've told you, that lifestyle disorders are the diseases of longevity. The more you will live, the more you will face the lifestyle disorder. Next is atherosclerosis, carcinoma, chronic liver disorders, chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, chronic kidney failure, stroke, even PCOD or PCOS comes into lifestyle disorder, arthritis, depression, obesity, and even dementia. Okay, now major lifestyle disorder oriented disease. My voice is not clear. Am I audible now properly? I hope it is working. Okay, so there are so many major lifestyle disorders, and I hope whatever lifestyle disorders I have named, you are very much well versed being a doctor. Okay, if you get any confusion or if you have any question, please write in the comment section. Before ending up this session, I'll try to clear all of your doubts. Okay. Now, there are so many, too much to study about lifestyle disorder, but today we are here to discuss about the thyroid disorder. So today I'll try to make all of your myth, the doubts, and you don't have to mug up or cram up the thyroidism, the symptoms, the medicines. I'll try to make everything very clear cut, very much precise to you. and especially from clinical point of view. Okay, so we know the thyroid is a small butterfly shaped gland and present here in the neck just below the Adam's apple, and it produces T3 and T4 hormone. Now, those who are here listening me, please write in the comment section the TSH, which body part secretes TSH. I'll wait for your reply. We'll move forward. So the function of these hormones is to regulate the metabolism of the body. It produces energy. So thyroid is that much important. Thyroid has an effect over the energy level, the blood sugar, circulation, immunity, growth, and even development of the body and fertility as well. Okay, so when we talk about the thyroid dysfunction, so what makes thyroid to do not work properly? Whether the hormone is not proper, hormone is not available, or it is less, or if there is an overproduction of thyroid hormone, when the gland is not working at all, or when gland is so much hypersensitive. Okay, so these are the various thyroid disorders. Now, what are the diseases of thyroid disorder? We spoke about the dysfunction, and I have not got the answers that from where TSH is secreted. Dr. Adiba Abdullah, she said from pituitary. Is this the answer I expect from a doctor? Pituitary, is it enough? In my class, in my webinar, you have to answer. It should not be a single way that I'm babbling and speaking like stupids, and you are just listening and you are forgetting as soon as the webinar is over. It should be two-way. Mr. Babu, Dr. Babu said anterior pituitary, which is absolutely correct answer. Anterior pituitary secretes TSH. Okay. So I'll be asking questions in between. Definitely, I am not going to spare any one of you who has came here. Either you have to answer or you have to tolerate it. So we'll be talking about the diseases of thyroid gland. So thyroid gland diseases are divided into four. Okay, four diseases we have. And I'm glad people are leaving the live session just because they don't want to answer. That's okay. Okay. I want quality listeners, quality homeopaths, learners. Okay. So we have four classification of four types of thyroid diseases. Number one is hypothyroidism. Number two is hyperthyroidism. Number three is goiter, and number four is neoplastic. Yes, Dr. Adiba Abdullah, absolutely correct. The anterior lobe of pituitary secretes TSH, which stands for thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, so in first, hypothyroidism, whether the hormone is less or the gland is not working properly. Simple, basic. So what diseases come under hypothyroidism? The underproduction of thyroid. For example, less of iodine. आयोडीन नहीं है तो थायराइड कैसे काम करेगा, कैसे बाइंड होगा, कैसे बनेगा थायरोक्सिन? What it leads to? Deficiency of iodine leads to hypothyroidism. Simple, basic. Okay, myxedema, cretinism, and even thyroiditis. Thyroiditis is inflammation of thyroid. Very simple. Okay, so whenever there is inflammation, there is swelling, and we all know the process of inflammation. So definitely gland will not work, hormones will not be produced. So there is hypothyroidism. Next is hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism means there is overproduction of thyroid hormone, and when occurs is the overproduction, grave disease, thyrotoxicosis. Remember this, we'll come back to it. Okay. Next is goiter. Goiter could be diffused or multinodular. When there is increase in the size of the thyroid gland, it is known as goiter. Okay. Fourth comes the neoplastic process. Neoplastic includes the cancers, the carcinoma. They can be benign, and we all know, and could be malignant. Now, what are the causes of thyroid dysfunction? What leads to disturb the function of thyroid? Number one, I told you, is the iodine deficiency. Number two is autoimmune disorder. Okay, autoimmune means body is acting against the thyroid. So hyperthyroidism, which was caused by Graves' disease, we discussed about the Graves' disease, and the hypothyroidism caused by Hashimoto disorder. So the Graves' disease and the Hashimoto disorder we discussed earlier in the hyper and hypo respectively, they are autoimmune disorder. Body forgets the self and the non-self. हम बॉलीवुड मूवीज में भी देखते हैं ना, जब आदमी अपने पराई की पहचान भूल जाता है, दूसरे लोगों पर यकीन करने लगता है, तो what starts? The destruction of the person starts. Now, the nodule and benign lump in the thyroid gland. Definitely, if there is a nodule or a cyst or a gland, so it will not let thyroid gland produce properly. Certain medication, radiations and even surgical treatment, thyroid gland ही निकाल ली, thyroidectomy ही कर ली, एक लोब निकाल लिया, so definitely how this gland will work, so which will result in hypothyroidism. And at last comes the genetic disorders. Okay, so there are so many factors which affect the thyroid function, which we as a homeopath should know, that what alters the thyroid function. Should I remove the earphones if the voice is not? Am I audible now? Is my voice properly audible now? Okay, so the factors which affects the thyroid function. There are so many factors actually. They could be nutritive factor. We discussed about the iodine deficiency. Okay, next, stress, any trauma, any low calorie diet, the toxins, liver function dysfunctions, any infection in the body, toxins and factors which increases the conversion of T4 to T3. You mark my words where I will use this in Materia Medica. How this practice of medicine will strike there in the Materia Medica. What I am saying, that selenium and zinc, these two minerals, these two elements, they increase the conversion of T4 to T3. And factors that improve the cellular sensitivity to thyroid hormones like vitamin A, exercise and zinc. Okay, there are so many medicines which also alter the, even some food, they can alter the function of thyroid. Okay, now we'll discuss about the symptoms of hypo and hyperthyroidism. Once you get this, you need not to worry about the reports, the investigation which patient is bringing to you. Okay, so this is very much difficult and challenging for a homeopath or a physician, general consultant, to differentiate between the hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism, because patient will come to you ये बोल के thyroid है मुझे, that's it. Patient को नहीं पता hypothyroidism क्या है and hyperthyroidism. Here I'll give you a short tip to increase your practice. Always educate your patient. Tell him, tell her what happened to you. I always tell how thyroid works to all the patient. Why DNS happened to you, why the nasal hypertrophy or polyp you developed, why you have benign prostate hypertrophy, how insulin is affecting your ovaries. I always explain on their prescription paper only. This is very important. This brings the bond between the patient and the physician. Okay, so we'll come to hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism means either the gland is not working, simple, or there is hormones are less. So what symptoms? As I told you, that thyroid hormone, it is for energy, development, immunity. Okay, so the hair will be dry, face will be fluffy. So less of the thyroid, more of the swelling. पेशेंट की एनर्जी कम हो जाएगी, थायराइड एनर्जी लेके आता है, सो देयर विल बी स्लो हार्ट रेट, पेशेंट विल गेन वेट, लेस एपेटाइट, बिकॉज एनर्जी कम है, सो एवरी मेटाबॉलिक प्रोसेस हैपनिंग इन योर बॉडी विल स्लो डाउन. द कोल्ड इंटॉलरेंस, nails, they are easily breakable, the brittle, weak memory, muscle ache, fatigue, easily tired, fatigue, and even depression. So low in energy comes with the hypothyroidism. Whereas very contrary, in hyperthyroidism, the thyroid hormone is more, the gland is functioning superpower. So what happens? The body will respond in a high energy level, hair loss, protruding eye. My question is, why eye protrudes in hyperthyroidism? If any of our listener or student or homeopath can answer why eyes protrude in hyperthyroidism. Okay, profuse perspiration, rapid heart rate, palpitations. Patient will say, I am not able to sleep. As soon I get palpitations anytime. What you will do? You will go for ECG. ECG is normal. What you will do? Go for 2D echo. 2D echo is normal. What you miss? Rule out anemia first. Palpitation is a primary symptom for iron deficiency anemia. Then comes the thyroid. Once you rule out the anxiety, okay? There is a heat intolerance because there is a lot of already the energy is high in the patient in hyperthyroidism. There's muscle weakness, nervousness, and even menses are very much scanty. Okay, so menstrual irregularities is seen in both hypo and hyperthyroidism. Now comes the autoimmune thyroiditis. Autoimmune and thyroiditis. Inflammation of thyroid is there and there is autoimmune. The body is not able to recognize the self and the non-self. So an auto antibody, they produce inflammation and destruction of thyroid tissue. So if the destruction of tissue happened, hypothyroidism you have. It may also stimulate the TSH receptors. TSH receptors it is stimulating, which causes thyrotoxicosis. Now I'll tell you about the diet. This is very, very important. Always tell about the diet, exercises. Patient is coming to you, give him a full pack. You are likewise preserver of the health. You are not just a homeopathic consultant. Your duty doesn't end as soon as you write RX and you give the prescription. If patient is coming to you, he need not to go to another nutritionist or a physiotherapist or a rehabilitation center or a counseling person. You, even if you are 10 or if you are bound to be a nurse to your patient. Okay, there is no harm, there is no shame in being a whole soul package to your patient. Okay, you are likewise preserver of health. Okay, so we were talking about the diet of people, those who are suffering from thyroid. So okay, if there is patient is suffering from hypothyroidism, thyroid gland is not working, the hormone is less, so patient should avoid all the cabbage and cauliflower. Ask patient not to eat the broccoli, cabbage, turnip, strawberries, and even peaches and spinach. So what vegetables we have for hypothyroidism, I'll ask you in the end of the session. Sprouts, Brussels, that cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, spinach, strawberries and peaches. Now, what are the food? What should we advise patient to eat when patient is having thyroid disorders? Ask patient to eat all the nuts, almonds, peanuts, rice, use of coconut oil in the food, yogurt, fish, protein diet, especially salmon and rahu. Eat eggs. As I told you, proteins are required because patient is low on energy. Okay, and all the seafood will help because seafood is rich in iodine. Okay, now good food for thyroid are, as I told you, nuts, probiotics, lemon, walnut, almonds, all the nuts, seafood, coconut and kidney beans. And the bad food for thyroid, I don't think it's specifically bad food for the thyroid, but the carbonated drinks, the sugars, the bread, bakery products and the crucifers like cabbage and cauliflower, they are harmful for everybody of us. Now comes my favorite, the most interesting part of the webinar here is the repertorial approach. How you will approach a patient via repertory. You have a case and you have a patient. Okay, I got a lot many questions, ma'am. How to use this repertory? How to use this repertory? Which repertory is my favorite? Which repertory I use mostly in my practice? And my answer remains the same, that it's not me who calls for the repertory, it's the case which calls for the repertory. Okay, so being very much well versed with the repertory is very much important. Okay, I'll tell you. I don't know how many of us knows cooking. Okay, so if you are shallow frying something on tawa, okay, you are shallow frying, what you will use? Will you use the big tablespoon to flip it? No, you will use the spatula. If you are eating noodles, So what you will you use knife? You will use knife for porch, to cut it, for pizza, and for cutting. You won't use it to eat the noodles. You will use a fork. Fine. So what is this? This is how we use the assets we have, how we use whatever the things we have with us, the resources. Same is with the repertory. So once we know where to use what, it becomes very much easy for us as a homeopathic physician. Now I'll tell you in different repertories where you will get the thyroid rubrics and when to take them. So let's start it. First of all, our very own favorite, the most used and abused, synthesis repertory in Radar. We have thyroid rubric in external throat. External throat, complaints of external throat, and there is a rubric called thyroid gland is given. And there are so many remedies in which iodum is in the highest mark. Even the cross references are given, like goiter, swelling in gland, swelling thyroid gland, general hyperthyroidism, general hypothyroidism. So with this just one rubric, we came to know about all the other rubrics of thyroid given in a repertory. Okay. There are other rubrics also given along with the thyroid. If you see the generalities, in generalities like general obesity, children, thyroid. So those children, those who are obese and they are suffering from thyroid disorder. Respiratory, asthmatic, thyroid with chest, heart complaints accompanied with thyroid. Okay. Now next comes is my personal favorite, Phatak repertory. So Phatak repertory, we all know it's an alphabetic repertory, and where we will find thyroid. When you search for thyroid, there is written check for goiter. So thyroid gland rubric, you will find it in goiter, and there we have 2-mark remedy like Ignatia. Don't miss Ignatia in thyroid complaint. It acts wonder if indicated. Okay. Iodum, spongia, and what I like most about the Phatak repertory, you will see the sub rubrics and very little amount of little number of remedies are given. For example, if I go to goiter and I see the right side, Hepar sulf is given. If I go to left side, Chelidonium is given. Okay, if I see if there is a rubric exophthalmic, we have exophthalmic goiter now. So remedies like belladonna, iodum, natramur is given. So you always take this tip as a home taking back tip. Whatever case you take, a good case you take, complete the symptom, the histories, everything. Okay, you jump to a simillimum. For example, I'm saying this patient is pulsatilla. If pulsatilla is not covering your pathology, pulsatilla will not suffice or do justice to your case. Please make sure this in your mind. If pulsatilla is indicated in your pathology, definitely pulsatilla will help. For example, if patient is seeing it, patient is pulsatilla, right? But pathology is not covering pulsatilla, what to do? Then search for the analog. Here comes the importance of remedy relationship. Okay, so whether look for lycopodium is helping you, sulfur is helping you, silicia is helping you, fluoric acid is helping you. So all these are what? These are the complementary remedies. So definitely if patient's miasm is syphilitic, although pulsatilla is polycrest remedy, then go for fluoric acid, the destructive remedy, more destructive remedy, if you are seeing that patient's miasm is syphilitic. Okay, so definitely always look for the miasm and the pathology of the patient. Now, next repertory is Boger-Bonninghausen BBCR characteristic repertory, and in the chapter neck and external throat we will find a rubric thyroid. And so beautifully this rubric is given. You'll find all the sensations here, whether in a gland, in the goiter there is pulsation, is it painful, pressing, sensitive, shooting, swelling, any tension is present, and even there is a rubric goiter, children in, and the 2 remedies are given, Beritacarb and nitric acid. So don't miss this. that even these smaller rubrics, they help us in coming and making the totality at last. Because anytime you give general rubrics to the repertory, to the radar, you will get the general remedies only, right? So at last you need to come out with the more better simillimum from the group of the remedies, from the probable group of remedies. Okay. Next repertory, we have Murphy's repertory. We all know that it's a purely clinical pathological repertory. Dr. Murphy has worked a lot about pathology, and you will find all the rubrics, clinical rubrics, which you won't find in any of the repertory. Rubrics like autoimmune disorder, even AIDS, the vaccination, ailments from vaccination, it is very beautifully given in Murphy's repertory. So we'll come to the chapter disease, and there is written goiter, thyroid, and we have like 75 remedies there, in which we have calcarea iode, iodum, natramune, spongia. I have seen many of my colleagues, they have treated and cured cases of thyroid with spongia. So please take it as a homework and tag me @homeopathy.heals. What are the complaints spongia shows of thyroid? Do tag me. I'll share on my wall that you have read it. Okay. So sides are given. So many sub rubrics are given, whether thyroid in obese people, whether in pregnancy. Even this lysinum, hydrophobinum is indicated when there is thyroid in pregnancy. Okay, whether in puberty, like calcarea iode. Okay, thyroid with the diarrhea, and if there is the gland is irregular, naughty. So you'll find all the variable clinical rubrics in Murphy's repertory. Now comes the homeopathic therapeutics for thyroid dysfunction. I'll cover hypothyroidism first. I hope we are not running short with the time. Okay, in hypothyroidism comes Baryta iode. Baryta iode, I'll tell you the potency later, but Barytas act over the lymphatic system, and it increases the leukocytosis. See the pathophysiological action of Baryta iode. Okay, so there is indurated glands, especially tonsils and breast. If you see any other gland indurated, so Baryta iode is indicated, but not that much when it is indicated in the induration of tonsils and breast. Okay, there is tumification of cervical glands, and patient or kid is having stunt growth. As we all know that Baryta is known for slow sluggishness, idiocy, and patient is the growth developmental defects. Always use Baryta iode in 3x potency. Start from the low potencies in case of hypothyroidism. Okay. Next comes is belladonna. When the thyroid secretion is poisonous. Have you ever thought of this? Whatever hormone patient is producing is poisonous in nature. Extreme toxemia, okay, is present. If there is anemia due to thyroid dysfunction, check for belladonna. There is increased heart rate. We know the active principle of belladonna is atropine. Atropine what causes? The redness, the dryness, the hardness, and there is abnormal protrusion of eye. The other remedies, the calcarea carp, if simillimum, if the constitution match, so it is very much fallible in cases of hypothyroidism. When there is thyroid dysfunction and patient is fair, fat, flabby, and there is excessive perspiration, especially on the head area. Calcarea fluor is indicated when there is stony hardness of inflamed glands. Calcarea iode when the thyroid complaints comes in the puberty, and always give it in 3x potency. Iodum is also indicated when there is inflammation and enlargement of gland, mostly in the goiter complaints. Think of Kali iode when the gland is hard, swelling, and there is ailments after case of radiation. Next is Cystus candidus. Read this. This is a rare remedy, and I use, not rare for me because I use it very frequently in my practice. When there is swelling and induration, and cystus has affinity for nasopharynx. I have used it for nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Cystus, and it aborts the cold, and all the mucus which is collected in the posterior nose. There is a spongy feeling. Patient will say that there is some sponge is present when the cold air is passes. So their throat, their tongue, it feels all cold. The hawking of mucus, even the least inhalation of cold air, it aggravates the cystis. Next is thyroidinum, which is sarcode. And thyroid, it produces all the complaints. What it can cure, it can cause. What it can cause, it can cure. You'll see the obesity, the easy fatigue, the weak pulse, palpitations. Okay, and always think of thyroidinum when patient is pale. If patient is anemic, thyroidinum acts wonder. So always there is an importance of clinical examination of the patient. Next comes is the hyperthyroidism. There is a drug called Alnus, ALNUS. You people also try this in 3C potency when there is goiter with indigestion. When goiter is associated with secretion, the imperfect secretion of gastric juice. When dyspepsia or acidity complaints are associated with thyroid. Next comes is the bromine, the sea salt. All the sea salt remedies, they act very, very well in thyroid complaints when there is enlarged glands and the blood vessels are dilated of throat. You can see the blood vessels, they are very much engorged, dilated. Next is ficus versicolora. When the goiter is non-toxic in nature. We have studied about the toxemia in belladonna, and when the goiter is non-toxic and patient is obese, there is thyroid enlargement, there is protrusion of eyeballs. So think of ficus versicolorus. Next is lycopus. Lycopus is useful in the cases of exophthalmic goiter with heart disease. Next is the iodine. Okay, iodine, we have studied a lot about it, and the metabolism of iodine is very high. The individual is exceedingly thin, and the dark complexion person are usually affected with iodine. There is tickling all over the chest, and the cough is worse when patient is inside, when the weather is warm. So always think of iodine. Iodine has never disappointed me when indicated in thyroid cases, be it hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, but I mostly use it in hyperthyroid cases. Okay, because the metabolism is fast. Next is Natromur. I have also treated and cured so many cases of thyroid with Natromur. When there is emaciation, patient is thin in spite of eating well, there is great liability to catch the cold. Patient is so oversensitive to sun, the external impressions, the emotions, and even when thyroid is associated with Addison disease. Okay, so this is it about the thyroid disorders. If you have your questions, you can ask. I'll go through all the comments. Thank you so much, Dr. Sheikh, wishing me happy birthday. Kids have birthday, adults have birthday week. I'm enjoying birthday month. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so delighted to have birthday wish here. Okay, any questions you have, you can ask. Till then you type. I should promote that if you have not yet subscribed our YouTube channel Homeopathy Heals, please search it, hit the bell icon, and please subscribe it. And if you want to learn more about the clinical tips, the rubrics, and more about learning with fun, small tip and comparative materia medica, please follow us on Instagram homeopathy.heals. Okay, hyperthyroidism with indigestion, which remedy? Alnus, ALNUS, and use it in lower potencies. Any other question? Don't forget your homework. You have to search about spongia. Spongia. How spongia indicated in thyroid disorders? In what thyroid complaints spongia is indicated? Okay, tell about TSH level. This is very interesting. I think I missed it. I'll tell. See, we have three hormones: T3, T4 and TSH. T3, T4 is secreted from thyroid. TSH secreted from pituitary. Basically, T3 and T4, they are the main thyroid hormones. What TSH do? It is thyroid stimulating hormone. It just stimulate the work of thyroid hormone, the T3 and T4. Now, what happens? In case of hypothyroidism, okay, what you will see in the investigation reports, you will see that either the T3 or T4 is less. Thyroid gland is not producing hormones. T3, T4 is less. So, there is hypothyroidism. But what will happen to TSH? Can anybody tell me in case of hypothyroidism and why? TSH may be low, but TSH may be high. Why? When even the thyroid is working proper, normal, when T3, T4 is normal in case, but TSH is increased, that means it is a case of hypothyroidism. Why hypothyroidism? T3, T4 are normal, only TSH is increased, because the gland is doing its work properly, but the receptors where the body needs thyroid, the receptors are blocked, the receptors are not working properly. So what pituitary is sending the signal, send us the thyroid hormone. But thyroid hormone is normal. The T3, T4 is normal. Body is not using it. That's why TSH is raised. What happens in hyperthyroidism? Hyperthyroidism, we have T3, T4 either elevated or TSH is elevated. So there are so many patients, when you ask them for the thyroid profile, they only get their TSH done, whether TSH is increased or less. So this doesn't make any sense. You have to correlate the value of TSH with T3 and T4 as well. Okay. So many days I have not seen your video on YouTube. Fine, I'll upload tomorrow only. Any other hukum for me? If you have no questions, we'll end up the session here. Either you got everything, you learned everything, or you didn't learn or got either at all. There can be only two possibilities. If there is 0 or 1, there is nothing comes in between, right? Okay. Thank you so much, and do tag me whatever you have learned, homeopathy.heals on the Instagram. Don't forget to follow us, and I will share. Let me see how much you have learned, and I'll definitely try to ask our admin of Herbal Homeo that please get me this video so that I can upload it on YouTube. I hereby thank a lot Dr. Shikhar Sharma. Okay, he was the man behind this webinar. And he was like, ma'am, karna hai. And he also gave me the liberty to suggest or pick the topic of my choice. Thank you so much, Shikhar Sharma. You have given me this platform to have a two-way interaction. If you want, we'll have a Zoom meeting, the interesting one, and we will discuss about any topic you want to. We can have a random webinar if you have a question about posology or susceptibility or the dosages. Okay, thank you so much. Till then, stay fit, stay healthy. Homeopathy Heals.